So thank you everyone for joining our agency webinar and putting the time and effort to be here today. Very happy that you guys are joining. Of course, after this webinar, we will share also this recording with you guys, um, so you can watch everything back, also in your own time, or share it as well with the team if you thought it was very interesting. Um, yeah, before we dive into this agency webinar, I would like to introduce why we have this webinar. So it's part of multiple, like a series of multiple partners that are using Channable and share their success story with us. Um, so the main purpose is also to share knowledge, to inspire each other, to also have this interaction with the partner that is using Channable, like NeoSEM, for instance, is doing. Um, so today's session is with NeoSEM, with Sven. Um, so that's really nice that we can present this case. And the case will go about Bruna. Bruna is one of the largest booksellers in the Netherlands. Um, and what is also really good to know is that NeoSEM was nominated for this use case by Channable for the Use Case of the Year award during our agency partner day, but also is now nominated 5 times for the Global Search Awards. So yeah, it's a really good case, really advanced, and I hope you guys are inspired after this webinar. Um, so yeah, let's go to the next slide. Um, so the webinar is mainly about how to scale up a lot of products like Bruna has in this case, and to optimize that successfully within export channels, like for instance Google. Um, and before we dive further into the topic, I would like to ask everyone that is joining this session, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the question section. So if you go to the right lower side, there is the chat, but there is also a question section. So if you have any questions during the session, feel free to put them there. Um, if we cannot answer all of the questions during this webinar, we will come back on that later as well. Um, yeah, so that's mainly the most important things to share. And now I'm going to introduce also myself, of course, for the people that don't know me yet. I'm Bregje. I'm Customer Success Manager in the Benelux within Channable. Um, that means I'm a sparring partner of agencies like NeoSEM, but also big advertisers within my portfolio. Um, my goal is to reach the higher goals that we set with agencies and big advertisers by using the full potential of Channable. So I'm also giving trainings and happy to help you guys out with like wider strategic topics. And I worked at an agency before, so I also use Channable myself a lot. So I gained a lot of experience with that. Um, and like to inspire also others, like doing with this webinar. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Then I will hand it over to Sven, who is yeah, presenting this webinar with us today. So Sven, you can
Yeah,
take it over. The floor is yours.
thank you, Bregje. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining today's session. My name is Sven Mulder. I'm working for NeoSEM as a lead consultant. I'm working here now for almost 8 years at the agency. And back in the day, in 2016, I started as an SEA specialist, and I did that for around 3 years, I think. So my background is really into advertising and Google Ads and also Channable. But nowadays, my role as consultant, I'm more responsible for implementing strategies and overseeing the projects as a project manager at NeoSEM. And I'm also working for the Bruna case. Yeah, we at NeoSEM are really focusing on growing e-commerce businesses, so that's our main focus. And today I'm going to tell you something about how we did it for Bruna.
Yeah. Perfect. So during this presentation, we also have some polls that I would like to launch to also have some interaction with the people that are actually viewing this webinar. Um, so I will launch a poll at this moment because we're also very interesting who is watching this webinar and where are you working for. So if it's like agency side or client side. So please fill in the poll. Um, and then we know a little bit more
Yeah,
also about you guys.
a lot of agencies I see already,
Yeah,
but
a lot
also
of
some client
agencies.
sites.
Nice.
Yeah. I will, in the meantime, introduce a little bit about Bruna. Yeah, as mentioned before, Bruna is one of the major booksellers in the Netherlands, and Bruna is also a really big brand himself. It's with a brand awareness of 90-70%. Almost everybody in the Netherlands knows Bruna and knows their stores. Besides the online web shop, they also have 267 physical stores in the Netherlands. So in almost every city center there is one or maybe more Bruna stores, and also a lot on like airports and train stations and places like that. Yeah, so it's a really big brand in the Netherlands.
Yeah, definitely. So I see most of our people that are joining are agencies, but also some people that work on the client side. So it's nice to see that we have a good mixture, and hope the insights for this webinar is definitely worth watching for you guys.
Yeah, a diverse audience.
Yeah,
Perfect.
nice.
Yeah, as mentioned before, I will tell you something about how we did grow the business of Bruna. A little bit more about Bruna. This is what the store of Bruna looks like. This one is located at Amsterdam Central Station, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So as you can see, they mainly focus on selling books. But besides books, they are also selling stuff like office supplies, agendas, some toys like puzzles and stuff like that. But their main focus are books and online also. We mainly focus on selling books. Yeah, as you can see in the physical stores, they have just maybe around a couple of hundred books in their physical stores. But if you would look like to their online store, and that would be a physical store, their store would look like this, like a huge library with 1 million products in it. It's quite a challenge for us to how are we going to work in an efficient way to grow this business with such an amount of products. So our main challenge is how are we going to manage around 1 million products to build efficient Google Ads campaigns. And we broke it down into 3 sub-challenges. So how do we make sure that the best sellers are visible while we minimize spend on the not selling products, because we don't want to waste any money. How do we deal with the short sales peak of a book? That's in most cases around 3 to 4 weeks, and then the big sale peak is over. So we have to be there in the first couple of weeks. And how do we build effective search and shopping campaigns with that amount of products? So I will tell you a little bit more about that in this presentation.
Sounds like a great challenge.
Yeah, it was. We're working now for Brunel, I think 3 to 4 years, maybe around that, and it was quite a big challenge. But now we have it really under control, and we grew the account quite hard. In first, it's important to have the basics right. So as mentioned before, there are a lot of products, so the product feed is huge. And what we did on forehand is that we split the product feed into multiple smaller feeds. So we have more control per feed, and we also deleted some irrelevant products and categories. So some categories we don't want to focus on. We just deleted, so we minimize the waste of time. We could really focus on the most important parts of the products of Bruna. And then how did we deal with the best sellers versus not sellers? So we need to make sure that the budget is going to the right products. And this is really important that we created more context in the project. So we imported multiple data sources. So we have more context about the products, and then we know where we have to put our money in. So where we looked at is our release date. So that's really important one. As you can imagine, when a book got released, that is the most important period of the lifetime of that book. So we have to do something with that. We also use Google Shopping and Google Analytics data. Besides that, we also use webshop-wide data. So we connected with the backend of the webshop, and we also use some manual spreadsheets that we use in the campaigns.
Yeah, really nice to see that you're using a lot of external data to enrich like everything that you have and to make right decisions on optimizing your campaigns. I'm really interested as well if other people are also using external data within Channable or to optimize. So I will launch now a second poll. And I'm really interested to know if you guys are using already external data to enrich your site within Channable. So please fill in the votes. Yeah, I see a lot of people also already do, but there are also quite a few people that don't do it yet. So that's good. This could be very inspiring as well. To have a look into for the people that are not using it yet, to see how that works for your client, or the account you're working in.
Yeah, good to see that already a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
Because in our opinion, it's a really nice add-on. It's a good
Yeah,
way
definitely.
to use Channable for it.
Yeah, good to see. All right.
Yeah, and I can continue. The release dates, is of course an important period. As mentioned before, the biggest peak is around this date. So we need to know when a book got released. So with the client, we made sure that the release date is in the product feed. So in their backend, they fill in when the release date will be. And via Channable, we built a couple of labels so we know which books are going to be released or in pre-order. So we give a book the label new when it's released within the last 14 days. And the 14 days before the release date is, then we use the label pre-order. So basically, a book got into the pre-order and new label for 28 days. And we use these labels for a separate campaign, and we push those books harder than normal. So the visibility is on maximum level in this period because during the release we want to have a visibility as much as possible.
Yeah, I see we do have also a question from somebody that also answered the poll. Michael did reach out to us. Do you use also GA4 data or also other data within Channable like margin, returns, and that kind of data?
Margins is something that we are working on because we want to test with some other tooling. We spoke about profit metrics, for example. I don't know if you are familiar with that tool, but that's a project that we are working on right now. But it's quite a big project for the client itself to have for this amount of products all the margins in the product feed. But they are looking at it, what's possible. So that's definitely something that's on our mind and that we are talking about with the client. Return data is something that we talked about as well, but the returns are very low for them. So in their opinion, it's not something that we should focus on because of the impact. The client thought that the impact would be quite low. So
So it's definitely also good to take a look into this per client. I would say definitely. Also, if you have that data available with your client or the advertiser you're working for, but definitely interested to have a look into.
Yeah, we do it for a couple of other clients that we are focusing on POAS, so
Yeah.
on profit instead of revenue. So yeah, that's definitely something that we are working on for the next coming period.
Nice, good to hear. That was the only question, so I let you go
Yeah.
through with the presentation then.
Okay. Yeah, and besides that, we use shopping data, of course. That's I think a no-brainer. But we use the performance data, and we send this back to Channable. And based on this performance data, we label the products into four different performance labels. I will talk about that more later on. Yeah, and we look at the 30 days data, so the average length of the sales peak. We use that amount of days. But yeah, the performance labels is really important thing, and yeah, we'll talk about that more later on. This is the script that we use. So every day the performance data is exported into a spreadsheet, and this is basically what it looks like. So we have some impressions data, clicks data, etc. in it, and based on this data, we label the products. We also use webshop wide sales data. So of course the data in GA4, for example, is not 100% trustable. So we also use backend data. We connect it with the backend of the webshop from Bruna, and then we send this data into Channable as well. And we use different time slots so we can see what the trend is in the sales data. So is the peak right now, or is the peak already decreasing, or is it maybe increasing? And based on that, we can push some products harder, or
Yeah.
so that's for us a good one as well.
Yeah, really interesting to see that timing with Bruna is such an important topic, um, and that you're using actually different time frames. Yeah, within the setup. So now I have another poll because I also am very curious about if other people also are using multiple or different time frames within Channable to optimize the performance. So I will launch it now. Um, yeah, so please put your vote in. We're very curious if you're using time frames, or is time framing important for you. Good to have an insight in that. I also see for the last poll we did about the external product data within Channable, the answers are 50-50. So that's also nice to see, and hopefully, yeah, the people can also learn from your setup with Bruna in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now for these questions, I see less people are using time frames, but I think that can also depend on what kind of
Yeah.
client or customer you're working for, or brand,
Yeah.
and how important it is, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine if you don't have a really short time of a sales peak, then it's less important, I think, than in this case with the short sales peaks.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right,
Okay.
then we can go on.
Yeah. Yeah, and besides those data, we also use some manual lists. For example, together with the client, we have a spreadsheet which is really simple, just two columns with the product ID, the ISBN, that's for books. And the client puts in a book when they think this book is going to sell very hard, based on, for example, if it's a famous author or it's a popular series, then we already know on forehand that this book is going to be a top seller. So the client puts it in the spreadsheet, and we use this for an extra label, and we can push those products harder as well for maximum visibility. So that this is also an important one. So we make sure that the top sellers have maximum visibility on forehand, because if we do it on after 2 weeks of data, then the sales peak is almost over, and we missed a lot of potential.
Yeah, nice to see.
And some other lists that we use are, for example, top 100 books, and also BookTok products. BookTok is something on TikTok, so you have some influencers who are promoting or talking about some specific books. We label those books as well, and also these books we push harder for maximum visibility, because we know that if a book is promoted on TikTok, more people are going to look for it, and it will become popular. So also to be in front, in how do you say, in advantage of the competition, we will push it on forehand, and not just when we have the data after 2 weeks, for example, and then we are too late. So now we know which books we want to push, and also which books we do not want to spend too much money on, based on performance or based on other data we have. And from there on, we can decide what strategy works best and what campaigns do we need.
All right. Thank you so much so far. Now we have like a question section. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the question section. I see there are already questions coming. So there was a question from Massimo. Have you already tried to work with the Channable add-on insights and analytics? And split your products based on the performance? I think we will dive into that for a second. So we will come back on that later. But definitely a good question. And then there's another question: is the labeling process of TikTok products automized, or do you manually label them?
Yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's done by the client in the back end, that he has control about which books are promoted on TikTok, and he makes sure that it has got the right label.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way, but I'm not 100% sure. I should check it.
Yeah, but definitely, I think in this case, what you already mentioned before, it's also like a great collaboration together with this partner, right? And help each other out with getting the highest results. That is the goal that you want to reach. So that's really nice. And then I do have also a question myself. Why do you think using combined import, so with different data, is such important for your clients or to use?
It's very important to have a more holistic view over it. So if we, for example, should rely only on Google Shopping data, and products are selling very well on shopping, on Google Shopping, okay, that's fine. But maybe we could miss some trends if a product is becoming very popular because of, like, for example, TikTok, and it's selling very well over there, and we miss that. Then we miss those trends. So it's for us important to look broader than just one channel, for a more holistic view.
Yeah, definitely. I see somebody also has a question about that. By actually, how are you facing this whole process until finding these right data points? Like, for example, do you have them workshops with clients, or do you have like sparring sessions, data analysis? How did you come to this point of knowledge?
With the client itself, do some. You mean? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We work a lot with the client together. So we sit every month with the client to discuss the performance and discuss the next actions we are going to take. So that's definitely something we do a lot with them.
Yeah, definitely. So really nice to hear that this collaboration is going very well, and that of course, it's also important to reach the outcome you want.
Yeah.
All right, then let's go on to the next part.
Yeah. Yeah, the short sales peaks mentioned a couple of times before. This is an important one. So here's an example of Lucinda Riley, the writer with the bestseller book of last year. And you can see in the screenshot that the peak is, yeah, I'm not sure you can read, I think the dates, but this peak is around 3 to 4 weeks. And after that, yeah, there are still some sales. But yeah, definitely not the numbers that you get into the sales peak. And this is another screenshot of another Dutch book that was a bestseller last year. And here you can also see that it's just 3 to 4 weeks, and after that, yeah, still some sales, but not as much as during the peak. So this is very important for us to maximize the visibility in this peak. And if we only would rely on Google Shopping data and the algorithm, is optimizing based on the data from the past, but we want to make sure that we are on forehand, pushing the right signals to the algorithm to push on a way that we want to. So we have a separate campaign for the new products and the pre-order products the separate campaign with a high budget and a low target, so maximum visibility. And after those 14 days, so after the 14 days after the release, the new label will expire and it will get into the performance label. So then the product will change from one campaign to another. So it starts in the first 14 days in this campaign. So that's the new campaign with the low ROAS. So we have a high visibility, and after those 14 days, it will get into, for example, the hero campaign, where all the products are with a good performance. So based on the performance, it will go into the right campaign. So it switches to another one. This was very important for us to have the right visibility into in the right sales period.
Yeah, I do see we have a question about this as well, about the segmentation of the products. Did you also consider using customer or audience analysis for this?
What do you mean by customer audience analysis?
So it's more like making this segmentation, like you are explaining that you're using also the time frame, and that's really important for this client.
Yeah.
But do you also consider it or think about, hey, maybe I need to also analyze the customers that are buying these books, or make an analysis
Yeah.
also on that?
Yeah, we started with just basically, let's say 4 campaigns, so 4 different labels, performance labels, but we decided to split it out per genres because the audiences, target audience of the genre is quite different. So, for example, for a school and study books is another audience than for body and mind books. So we split that out, and then on campaign level, on genre level, we could use different kind of audiences and optimize on that. So we definitely use that as well.
Yeah. Good to hear, and definitely I can imagine somebody's buying a roman. It could be a totally different a customer or audience that is buying school books. So taking that into account in this way is definitely very logical as well.
Yeah, and I think it's in the next part when we go into the shopping campaign. So how do we build and structure our shopping campaigns? Basically we have, this is an overview. So we have around 80 performance campaigns, so segmented by category and also segmented by the performance labels. And then we have some manual shopping campaigns for very low volume books that we treat them separately. And then the new pre-order campaign as mentioned before, and also a book talk and top 100 products which we push harder. But about the label, so we use this those 4 labels, and as mentioned before, we started at the beginning with just these 4 labels, and then we put in all the products and genres into basically one campaign. But what we found out is that the algorithm became quite lazy after some time, because there were so many books. A lot of books were just not getting the right chance. So we decided to split it out. On one hand, because of the algorithm became lazy, but also because of the different kind of audiences as we talked about. And then we saw after that the performance was increasing quite hard, because now the algorithm had to work harder, and we saw that all the products now, or at least more products, were pushed and tested by the algorithm. So that was quite a good change to do. These are the sorry.
No, go on.
These are the 4 labels we use. So heroes are the products that are selling very well, so high revenue for a good ROAS. Sidekicks are having a good ROAS as well, but maybe we can increase the revenue. So test with that. So less revenue than the heroes, but still a good ROAS. Villains are the products that cost more money than they make, or at least the ROAS is not on the level that we want to. And zombies are products that are just with low volume, so low clicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really interested to see, and I think definitely also I'm very interested if other people are also using labelizers to optimize their Google Shopping campaign. So I will launch a little poll for that. And I'm curious if you do already use a labelizer within Channable or another labelizer for your Google Shopping campaign. So feel free to fill it in. I see there is a question like, how many different item groups are you using per PMax campaign? And then are you also using text ads? But I think we don't jump also into that a little bit later. But
different item groups depends a little bit on the campaign. So I'm not very sure. I have to check that as well. I can call a number now, but that doesn't make sense. So I have to check that one. I can come up with it later on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then there is another question like, do you use a minimum amount of products per label? Or did you experience different performance when there are a low number of products per label?
We look at the data, but there's not really a minimum products, because that's not an issue in this case. We in every genre we have thousands of products, so that's not really a thing in this account. And when we see that the volumes are too low, or the spend is too low, or the performance is underperforming, then we'll put some campaigns together to achieve enough data within the campaigns. But in most cases, that's not a thing, because we have so much products. Then
yeah, definitely. I think it's also it's definitely a good question. And in this case, because you're so many products splitting up, still gives you enough room to perform within your campaigns. But definitely, if you are looking into this for another other client as well, definitely good to check if there are enough products in the label that you are creating. So definitely a good one to take into account.
Yeah.
And that were the questions for now, so we can go on.
And I just want to show. So these are the four labels, and this is what it looks like in terms of the campaign structure. So we have this is a screenshot of the books for children, and then we have 4 campaigns of it. Body and mind, also 4 campaigns split by different performance labels. So for school study books, etc. For all the genres, we work with this structure. Yeah, and these label campaigns are really the basis of the account. So that's from where we work on. And besides these campaigns, we also have the extra campaigns which we push harder. So in most cases, these campaigns have a lower ROAS target for a maximum visibility. Yeah, most campaigns I've already mentioned, but that's the new campaign. So around the release date, the top products. So the spreadsheet that I've mentioned before with where the client puts in the products that will be going to sell very hard. The book talk products, yeah, and finally the labelized campaigns, the 4 labels as mentioned in this part. So that's basically our campaign structure for Google Shopping. For Google search, we also use Channable for some campaigns to build it dynamically. And where we mainly focus on is on people who are looking for a specific title or a specific author. And we combine those, as you can see in the rules here, we combine the author and the product name, the title of the book. We combine it and make from there on the keywords. And this is what it looks like. So we have the campaign, writer plus author. And then on the left side, you can see the name of the ad group. So that's basically the name of the book and the author. And this is what it looks like in terms of the keywords. So this is for one ad group. You can see that there are multiple variations of the book. So the Zeven Zussen, that's the Dutch title of this book. And in some of the keywords include the author, and some have not. So we have multiple variations to make sure that we are relevant. And this is what it looks like in Google Ads itself. So we have currently around 3,000 active ad groups and 12,000 active keywords. And this is what the keywords look like. So it's in Google Ads. So it's very specific. So we want to make sure that we are really focusing on the converting search terms. So this works very well for us, and this way we can manage a lot of books. On an automated way.
Yeah, and also seeing that you're using different type of keywords, so like the broad match, but also phrase and exact. I think it's great and good to see. Definitely, if you're looking into starting with the PPC tooling with Channable and want to build your search campaigns, it's definitely a good one to add multiple keywords in this section. So you have enough keywords to have a good outcome within your advertisement.
Yeah, and we tested with it. For example, broad match could be quite risky because Google can go wild on it. But because we are very specific with those keywords, it works very good for this account in particular. So, yeah.
Nice.
And then this is what campaigns we have in search. So the first one, the relevant books based on author plus title, is just what I spoke about. We also have we have a campaign for top list. So, for example, top books for children, top Roman books, stuff like that. Also subgenres. So, for example, there's a lot of search volume on true story books and all kind of subgenres. And also people who are looking for a specific series of books. So currently Bridgerton books is quite popular. So that's we also have campaigns for those queries and categories as well. And what we see on the right side, you see a screenshot of the performance. I cannot mention the exact ROAS that we achieve, but the 100% is when we are exactly on track. So, for example, if the ROAS will be 500 and the campaign is achieving a ROAS of 500, then you will see here 100%. And as you can see, almost every campaign is on target. So that's the performance is very well, and we also see quite a big increase in revenue. So that's going very, very good. Yeah, because we have a lot of products, a lot of categories, a lot of genres that we split it out. We saw that we were only allowed to work with 100 PMax campaigns into one account, so that was a challenge as well for us at some point. We had to deal with. So that's quite a fun fact we were not aware of on forehand, but now we are, and we have to work around that as well. As you can see, we are now working with 92 different PMax campaigns into this account. We also have a separate account for the English books. So this is our only for the Dutch books. We are also selling English books.
Nice. Really good to see. I do see that we have some questions from people. So one was, for example, that why you're using also search campaigns combined with the shopping and not only PMax, also for the search part.
Yeah, that's I think a little bit of taste, or how do you say? In most cases, we work with separate shopping campaigns and separated from search campaigns because of we see better results with it. So that's mainly why we do it.
Nice. All right, that's a good one. Also, I have a question myself. Recently, of course, we also launched the PMax campaigns within Channable. It was already possible, but now it's also possible to add assets in there, and dynamic fields, of course, like you build up your search campaigns. Do you think this is also something that's interesting for Bruna or other clients to have a look into?
Yeah, definitely. Myself, I don't work with Channable that much, but my colleagues, my SEA colleagues who are working on it on a daily basis are going to test with it, also for Bruna. So yeah, we are really curious what it could do for us and in this account and also on other accounts. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nice. Nice, good to hear. Good to hear, and always keep exploring what can build the best results, of course.
Yeah.
Nice. I see there are no more questions, so we can.
Yeah, I see one from Michael about
Oh,
if
yeah,
we use prevent bot clicks, so we don't waste money on bot clicks. And Click Patrol, you mentioned Click Patrol. We work with Click Patrol for several clients. So yeah, we work with that. Yeah.
nice. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, definitely good one. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
So next steps where we are working on what we see quite a lot is some books are making a comeback. So maybe it was released 5 years ago, but because of a random event, the book is selling hard again. For example, last year, maybe it was this year, I'm not sure. Matthew Perry died, the actor from France, and his book started to sell quite hard again for a couple of days or weeks. Currently we didn't have a specific strategy on that, but now we are testing if we could use different KPIs or signals to spot those trends and to act fast on it on an automatic way. So we are testing to use, for example, GA4 page view data. So if a book, the page views on a specific book are increasing quite hard, then we can try to push that book harder in shopping, because there must be some kind of reason that the GA4 page views are increasing, and then we, of course, if the book becomes popular again, then we want to push it in shopping again as well. So we are testing with that as well. And currently we are mostly focusing on the 30 days ROAS, and based on that, the labels are doing their job. But we also want to test with the 7 days ROAS because of the short sales peaks, maybe because of looking at a shorter amount of days and the performance of those days, we can act faster on some trends in the market or on product level. So we are going to test with that as well to adapt faster on short sales peaks.
Nice.
So that's it from my side. I don't know if anyone has more question about or want to deep dive further on this case or maybe on another case. We are really open to talk about it. I can connect my SEA specialist who know a lot more about specific strategies or Channable as well. So we are really want to learn from each other. So if you want to connect, reach out to me and then let's talk.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Sven, for joining this session. Definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Sven or as well to me or to your CS contact person at the moment. We are always happy to help you guys out or answer your questions. Yeah, thank you so much for all the insights in the Bruna case. I think it was very inspiring, and also seeing the answers from our listeners in the poll. Definitely some interested insights for a lot of the audience that watched today. So that was great. Yeah, and I also want to launch already our next agency story webinar. So mid of July, there is the second edition coming up, or sorry, not the second edition, but another webinar. Aside is the partner that will present then. It's a French agency we work with, so definitely keep your eyes open also for the upcoming stories. Yeah, thank you guys then all for watching and being here today. And yeah, the recordings will be sent to you if you want to have a look back or share it with others that couldn't join today. All right.
Perfect.
That's it then for today. Then everybody enjoy your day. Yeah, and talk to you guys
Yeah.
later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you guys.